I still can't shake the smell, that burnt heavy scent that lingered long after dawn, clinging to the air like a silent warning. It was the night the prince came to our village, during the rainy season when storms brewed fierce and the night stretched darker and colder. Everyone knew the stories about him. He was a prince once loved, but now feared across the land. They said he had once loved a healer named Amara, and that after losing her, he had traded his heart for dark powers. Nobody knew the whole truth. Some said his soul has been twisted by betrayal. Others that a curse bound him. I didn't care about stories, but that night I became part of one. I had just laid down to sleep when I heard the footsteps, heavy torn, iron-like thoughts that made the earth tremble. I peered out of my hut, and there he was, shrouded in darkness, his face a blend of shadow and anger, his eyes aglow like a predator's. He stood there looking straight at me, and even though I hid, I knew he saw me. His gaze felt like it had reached into my very spirit. He moved through the village slowly, whispering strange words as he touched each hut. With each touch, the air grew colder, the walls seemed to throb, and I could feel an unnatural pulse around us. By morning, we found the first body. The body was that of Mama Nekas. Her eyes were shut, and strange symbols carved on her arms. Then I knew we were cursed. The terror spread fast, and word of the prince's visit flew from one whisper to the next. But nobody dared say his name. They only said, "The prince is near," and shuddered. I was silent too, afraid he might somehow hear me, but inside I felt bound to him, cursed ever since the terrible gaze landed on me. That night, I watched from my window, too scared to sleep. Shadows grew darker, almost alive, sliding across the walls into unnatural shapes. Then it came again, this time with strange figures, barely visible, like drifting smoke, but leaving muddy footprints in their work. He chanted words I couldn't understand, and the shadows grew thicker, watching us, devouring the light. By morning, another body was found. It was young Kofi, a boy barely 10, his face frozen in horror. The people offered sacrifice at their doors, hoping to ward off the prince's curse. The elders decided to call on the witch doctor, an old man with deep, knowing eyes. He arrived the next day, his hands heavy with charms and herbs, his gaze scanning every hut. And when he reached mine, he stopped. "You looked at him, didn't you?" he asked softly. He placed markings around my door, muttering incantations. "The prince has marked you. His curse is rooted in betrayal and pain," he said, almost in a whisper. Once he loved a woman who abandoned him, and in his despair he made a pact with a dark spirit. Now he feeds on pain, seeking to fill the emptiness he can never escape. That night, the witch doctor held a ceremony to battle the shadow, his voice rising and falling in a desperate chant. The prince will come back, drawn by his curse. This village is but another piece of his endless torment. By the next night, fear hung like a thick fog over our village. The prince's mark was spreading. Those who had seen him, even just a flash of his shadow, bore a dark symbol on their skin. A black scar that seemed to pulse, faintly burning as if alive. I found it on my own arm, near the shoulder. I tried scrubbing it off, but the mark only grew darker. Soon, I realized it wasn't just a scar, it was a binding. Every night it pulsed like a heartbeat, reminding me that the prince's curse has found me. He was reaching for me, and I knew he would return. That night, the prince stood there, watching as if waiting for us to crumble in terror. I knew that if we didn't break the curse, he would take each one of us, soul by soul. I couldn't bear it any longer. I went to the witch doctor, desperate for a way out. He looked at the mark on my arm and shook his head gravely. The prince's power has no equal. There is one thing he fears, the sword that can break his curse. The witch doctor told me about the sword, a blade forged long ago by Amara, the healer he had once loved. She had created it as a gift, never knowing that the same blade could be his undoing event. The sword holds a piece of her spirit, the witch doctor said. It's hidden deep in the forest, guarded by spirits loyal to her memory. With my last bit of courage, I set out to find it, leaving the village behind. I walked through the night, guided by the moonlight, until I found myself at the foot of the towering tree. There, embedded in the root, was the sword. Its hilt glowingly flanked, as if calling to me. I reached for it, feeling a strange warmth spread through my hand. The sword felt alive, humming with a power I'd never known. And as I gripped it, I felt Amara's presence, steady and fierce, filling me with strength. I knew that with this blade, I could finally face the prince. When I returned to the village, the air was thick and dried. The prince was there, standing in the center of the village. With a roar, he lunged toward me, his power surging like a storm. But I met his strike with the sword, and as the blade touched him, again and again we clashed, each strike shaking the earth. I felt his pain, his loss, but I couldn't stop. With a final desperate swing, I drove the sword into his heart. The prince let out a terrible cry, and his body began to crumble. The curse was broken, and the prince was gone. And as dawn broke, the elders gathered, their voices hushed, glancing at me with a strange glance. The witch doctor stepped forward, his deep, wise eyes fixed on me. You have done what none of us could. You freed us, you saved this village, and broken the curse that has bound us for long. He placed his hands on my shoulders, nodding solemnly. Our village needs a new leader, one who can protect it from the dark and bring us into the light. We faced the prince, yielded to the spirit of Amara, and restored peace. It's time for you to lead us. At first, I hesitated. I was just a villager, not born to royalty or power. But as I looked around, I saw the people watching me with hope. They believed in me. They needed a protector, a new king who understood the price of power and the weight of responsibility. With a steady breath, I nodded, and the village erupted in cheers, echoing through the trees. I had come face to face with the darkness and survived. And now, as the sun rose over our village, I stood among them, not just as a survivor, but as their king, a new ruler, born from the ashes of a cursed past, ready to protect my people and guide them to a brighter future.